Okay, so good day everyone and welcome to another exciting edition of SME Roundtable. And I'm your host, Ibina Precious. Yeah, briefly before we go into the program for today, I'd like to tell you who we are and what we do. So we are Pals Consulting, a management consulting firm that provides services to aid organizations in achieving their growth and expansion target through special attention to the economic improvement of SMEs. Yes, Pals Consulting provides professional services at an affordable price, and we are intentional about your internal growth processes and practices of each organization. Yes, to make this program a success, we have some of our partners. We have Pat Corner, we have Tan TV and Jobberman. And on our show today, we have our very special guest, Mr. Emeka Anyaora, who is a managing partner of FarmServe Limited. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thanks
You're
for
welcome,
having
sir.
me. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so thanks for having me. And I am the co-founder of PharmaServe. PharmaServe, typically we are an end-to-end procurement platform for healthcare providers. So we operate in the B2B space. So we help healthcare providers, hospitals, pharmacies to make their purchases more seamlessly using our software as a service. So typically that's what we do at PharmaServe. And I'm happy to have you as my guest as a guest today, and I'm happy to hear from you. Yeah.
Wow, okay, thank you very much. So, sir, please can you tell us what's product FarmServe and what's the organization core business? Did you hear my question?
Yeah. Can you repeat that? Can you repeat your question?
Did you hear my question?
Yeah. Can you repeat your question? I didn't get that clearly. Can you repeat your question, madam?
Hello? Did you get my question?
No. No, I didn't.
Okay, so I said, can you tell us what's product FarmServe and what's your organization's core value, core business? Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So pretty much we are a procurement platform. So typically our problem statement here is if you look at the healthcare ecosystem, most of this procurement in healthcare is being dominated by open market. We call them open market vendors or PPMVs, right? So these folks are the ones that sell medicines and medical devices at the open market, right? So the problem we're trying to solve here is we're trying to solve the problem of one, security, and secondly, we are trying to solve problem of the whole value chain. So looking at our problem statement and how we are trying to build up a solution to that. So typically, we are an intermediary between pharmacies and suppliers, pharma suppliers, right? So, and how we do that pretty much is that we on our software as a service, pharmacies can easily like make their procurements, right? And we deliver to their facilities, right? So typically that's what we do at pharmacy.
That's very good. Thank you so much. So, I wanted to ask, so while starting up your company, what were the major challenges you faced and how were you able to navigate through those challenges?
Yeah, so typically doing a business here in Nigeria, there are several challenges, getting, first of all, access to finance, access to funding is a huge challenge for every business or every startup, right? Secondly, building your core team, right? So because your first 10 or first few team members are like, for me personally, they're like entrepreneur in residence. So they're not like typical staff or whatever they call them, right? So building the core team, right? And for me to achieve that, you have to look at different things. You have to look at your mission and vision as a business, and how do you actually like get this core team to be authentically attached to this mission and vision, right? So that's the most greatest challenge we're facing: access to capital and building our core team.
That's true. That's true actually. Building the main people that will stay through the business, even if it is making profit or not. Okay, that's good. So I want to ask, has there been any point where government policies did not favor your business? And how did you go about it? Did you get my
Um,
question?
yeah, I got your question. So typically, we're in a system per se, in a system where government pay little or no role, especially like direct role to entrepreneurs. So typically, you're as an entrepreneur in Nigeria, you're typically gonna like figure out everything yourself, right? And government, there are several policies, right? But implementation of these policies, it's really the challenge, right? So government policies are there, right? They somehow or indirectly like affect us, right? For instance, importation of medical commodities, right, is 70 to 80% of the product being distributed in the country is being imported, right? So depending on the policies, how do you engage stakeholders, or how do you improve local manufacturing? These are like different kind of issues that, or policies that the government put in place that will definitely affect us as a business entity, right? And also looking at access to finance. There's different policies. CBN has different provisions, financial provisions for early stage companies. But how do you assess that? What's the barrier to entry? These are really like very challenging tasks, right? And also looking at multiplicity of taxes. Like as a business entity, you're always bound to pay different taxes, pay this, pay that, from different multiple organization or agencies whatsoever. So that actually like affect us tremendously.
That's true. That's true. All what you just said now is just true. So I have this particular question, and I really want to relate it to what you said before, because you said why starting up your company, one major focus you did was getting the right set of people on board. Because if you don't get the right set of people on board, you might really, really get frustrated as an entrepreneur. He said, why starting? Most people you get at first, they are entrepreneurs at heart. So them too, they want to try up their own business. And if they don't understand the mission and vision of your organization, they might not really push through. So I want to ask this question. So in setting up and managing your team, what has been the key? Like, what has been the key for you in setting up and managing your team? Did you get my
Yeah.
question?
So the key component here is really straight for me. Typically when I'm engaging a new hire or engaging a new partner, because my colleagues or my staff or whatever, they are like my partners, right? When I'm engaging a new hire, what I'm looking at three things, right? The first and most importantly, I'm looking at authentic attachment. Like how is this? How do this person, how does this person, attach to my mission and vision, right? Like how do this person, see the future of this company? or the problem we're trying to, the problem we're trying to tackle, or the problem we're trying to solve, right? So it's not about just, having a talent, yeah, you need to have a talent to do that, but also how authentic, does this person, or how is this person attached to this mission, right? So, and second of all, I'm also looking at impact, what kind of impact will this person bring to the table, right? And lastly, we're looking at, our culture. How do this person align to our culture, right? Because sometimes you have all this other, characteristics. You have the talent, you have this, you have that, but this person doesn't align. It doesn't vibe with us, something like that. So this is really very important, right? These are the three things I'm looking at, when I'm going to hire a new person to help to contribute to the team.
And those three things are really key, because if those three things are missing in any person you're trying to employ, there'll be a big problem. There'll be a big problem because the person will always feel cheated or feel, "Ah, I'm just there." Like the person will not understand the reason why he or she is on the team. So thank you very much for that beautiful answer. So let me ask, so how do you manage innovation? Yes, with your type of job, with your organization, how do you manage innovation? And what are the strategies that has worked for you?
Oh, that's a good question there. So first of all, when I'm getting my team members, or when we're having a team meetings, we make it very clear that, look, you're assigned to do maybe a particular thing. Maybe you're a procurement person or you're a customer success person. I always tell you that, hey, 30% of your job is innovation, right? You don't just do the same thing all the time. There should be a way you innovate in your own task, right? Because innovation is all about efficiency. How do you make your primary task more efficient, right? So, and on doing that, you see, different ideas, different ways to do this business, comes up from different team members, right? And this actually, our company, our organization is all about innovation, right? And we make sure that we, as all the team members are, you are tasked to always come up with, innovative, solutions, right? So, and this actually have worked tremendously well for us because personally, I, as a person and as a human, I never wanted to do the traditional thing. I like bigger challenges. I don't like, the traditional work. You go there, you do the same thing all the time, right? And I always want to innovate in my own way, like how do we, come up with, new ways to do these things. And look, we're in an age of technology, right? And technology will always disrupt ways we see things. Look at what happened, the past 12 months. The pandemic came in. Everybody is like, looking at how this, affects their businesses. This actually disrupted the whole way we do business, or we do our day-to-day activities, right? And if we don't innovate on that, you're either disrupted or you're disrupting. So typically that's how it works for me. Yeah, so innovation is key to every organization, not just ours, every organization. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope SMEs are actually listening to you, because if you don't tax your team members to innovate or bring ideas, they won't see the need. Actually, they won't see the need because they will feel most people, they need you to really push them to do some things. And if they don't see the push and they don't see the need, they just feel, okay, it's normal. So let's just live our life like that and enjoy. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that answer. So I want to ask, what has been the role and importance of data gathering for you in
Yeah.
your business?
Yeah. So in our business, data, we always believe in data driven decision making process, right? And we're in an age of data, right? one of the greatest, one of the problem we are solving in the healthcare, ecosystem is actually like digitizing these processes, right? So if you look at, for instance, if you're looking at the problem we're trying to solve, right? We're trying to solve a problem of drug security. We're trying to solve the problem of, supply chain visualization. How do you know how many maybe contraceptive that is being sold in Yaba, or how many antibiotic, or how do you know how many antibiotic that is sold in Epe? These are data-driven solution, right? And every day, this product are moving from point A to B every day. And most of these businesses, don't have this information, right? So we are digitizing this processes. So we are helping
Yeah, so sorry
Uh,
for the break in transmission and the network issues we've been having with it. Okay, so let's just continue with our question and our show for today. So we stopped at the importance of data gathering to your business. So please, can you continue?
Yeah, so like I was saying, making data-driven decision is key to any business, right? Because it doesn't just stop from your day-to-day activities. Because sometimes you might need to like access some funding, and for you to achieve that, you need the historical data of your maybe your revenue or your product movement or call it anything, right? So you need a proper data, right? And have a as a if you're a manager in any company, you also need like this kind of information so you can be on top of your decision making process, right? So data is really important. So, and narrowing it down to healthcare, right? It's crazy because, for instance, in the country Nigeria, we about 90% of 90% of payments that happens in healthcare facilities is still out of pocket. That's amazing. 90%. It's not like we don't have insurance companies that could help facilitate such, but because there is no data, you cannot give someone money if you don't know the credit score of this person, right? So you need data to be able to work with, if you're an insurance company or if you're in any healthcare provision, right? So data is really very important. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that answer. So while we were speaking earlier on, we talked about COVID-19. So I want to ask, did COVID-19 have any major impact on your business? And if yes, how were you able to manage through those like that period of time? And so how has been your business post-COVID?
Yeah, so COVID actually took us unaware, and it also helped us in a lot of way, right? So we have some pivot, in our business model, right? So before COVID, rather, we are more focused on doing this manual processes, carrying medication to the last mile to deliver, making calls and all those things. But when COVID sets in, that's when we started, we doubled down on our, digital infrastructure. So that's when we started, developing our end-to-end platform, right? And it's actually helped us a lot, right? So, and also we gain a lot of insight, on how we can manage our product movement. Now we can understand our product movement more clearly, right? And now we're saying that, okay, maybe in the future we could do predictive shipping because we can now understand that, hey, this pharmacy A can, want to, they buy a particular product, right? As opposed to pharmacy B, right? So this is actually an offshoot of COVID. So we pretty much have pivoted our business model in a more digital platform that also enabled us to be more efficient, typically. And, that says it all.
You spoke about your business model, and I like it's got me interested. So I want to ask, how do you foster financial planning and discipline within your organization? Did you get my question?
Yeah, so that's a good question there. So pretty much as a business person or as a founder in any company, you need a lot of discipline. Trust me. You need to understand your runway. So how much cash do you have and how much will it last you? And you need to understand the unit economics. So this is really very important, right? And until you come up with a proper, maybe call it financial modeling or a proper, like it could be projection, you have a better insight on how you allocate your fund or how so when you understand it, I think that's the first step, right? To be disciplined, that's the first step, creating a proper financial modeling. And these are foundational issues, talking about, like, especially small medium businesses. They always feel like, okay, these things are not important, you know you just want to do business based on inform. Okay, you have money, let's spend it. We're going to make the money back. No, you have to understand what's your runway. What's your cash? What's your burn rate? Monthly burn rate. And until you understand this unit economics, then you can now be more disciplined on how you allocate your funding, right? Or you allocate your finance, so, and that's really very important for any early stage business. You don't have to know your hard numbers. You have to be very disciplined on that, and you have to always check that, reiterate, do that every day, right? So that's really very important.
Thank you so much, Sai. This section has been one of the best I've had so far because I'm learning actually. And I just hope a lot of SMEs are online and they're watching what you're saying and they're listening to it also. So it's not about listening and watching, it's about like putting it in place. They said faith without work is dead. Like that's what the Christians will tell you. And also, as an entrepreneur, if you listen to things like this from experienced people, people that have done business for like a while, it is good. You take you pick some things and just
Okay.
oh, so sorry about the whole unstable network. I'm so sorry. Thank you, sir, for staying true. Okay. We were talking about COVID-19, the impact, and I guess that was where we stopped.
Yeah. So, like I said, So COVID-19 actually, disrupted the way we see the life as a whole, and also different industries, it really affected them, adversely, right? And healthcare industry wasn't exempted, right? But it's also brought about new opportunities, right? So, and that's actually in my own organization, it's actually helped us, on our, business model, how we pivoted more into a digital platform, and it made us more efficient, right, as a company, right? And we have been able to, uncover, different, insights, especially when it comes to our customers, our customers' behavior, and it's also helped us a lot, like on our, how we do our delivery. Like, it's actually helped us a lot on that. So, but going forward, there's never a business without no data. So we are all like, charged to build a business that we can easily, visualize our data, and it's actually help you be more prepared, more proactive as opposed to be reactive, right? And we also have, different products that we now see that, okay, we sell, this product more faster. I don't want to go into details on that, but there are some, medical commodities that, started moving faster as opposed to the way it's used to. So that's actually like a boom, to the market. I don't want to mention the, everybody's essential now, face mask, which is everybody's wardrobe essential. So COVID-19, disrupted a lot and also presented a lot of opportunity, going forward, and you can see that everything is going virtual, and how do you also, imbibe and integrate that into your business model? Because some of your colleagues might be working remotely, and how do you achieve that? How do you get your team members in check, right? So these are things that came with its own challenge and also came with its own, opportunity. So now most of us, we are working, remotely. We find it, we in a managerial standpoint, we see it as, a even more efficient, especially when it comes to costs. If you look at your cost items, it's we feel like it was cheaper for us to hire people remotely. Some organizations have already like started doing that. So, and it comes with a whole lot of ripple effects. I can't tell you everything here, but I mean, it says it all pretty much.
Wow, thank you very much. So I feel with what you've said, so COVID-19 played both a positive and I like call it a negative aspect because with what you said, it brought innovation for you. With what you've explained so far, it brought innovation because you people started thinking differently and you started moving, your routes changed. It was not the normal traditional method where you have to meet this person. And it also brought an idea of hiring people remotely to work for you. Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I'd like to ask, so do you patronize organizations that render this consulting services?
Yes, we do a lot of, we believe, look, we believe that our core competence relies heavily on our partners, and some of our partners are, consultants, because businesses, or starting up a business, it comes with a lot of challenges, and most of these challenges you might not have solutions to that, right? So sometimes you need to outsource this to experts, like people that have the domain experts, the domain expertise, right? So for instance, finance, how do we like come up with a proper, like a high level financial modeling or projection? These things, we have to engage a consultant to do that, right? Even hiring team members, we also engage a HR consultant that came up with a solution to that. And also some processes, for instance, organizational structure, right? How do we come up with a proper organizational structure? These things are, we had an engagement with a consultant that actually came up with a solution to that. So pretty much we are very, we are always very receptive to new ideas or new ways to do these things, and for we to do that, we need to engage people that has the domain expertise, right? And it's a continuous process, right? So we are always engaging consultants in different fields.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's really good because having conversation with a lot of SMEs and they tell you there's no need for a consultant. I know what I want. I don't need it because I feel most people feel okay. Like for what you just said now, for almost every other service, you always consult, like you always go ahead to get expertise to help you with them. And most entrepreneurs they tell you they don't need it, they don't they feel it is not important. And most times they tell you it's because of the financial parts, like paying those consultants to work for you. But I'm glad you've seen the benefit and it is really helpful if you can with what you've said, it has helped you thus far. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That's been a wonderful time. It's been a wonderful conversation all through. Thank you for your patience with all our network issues. Thank you so much. So I'd like to, what would be your parting message to SMEs that are listening to us right now?
Okay, my message to SMEs and people that look forward to start up a business in the future is you have to be very concerned about your foundational issues. Foundational issues in a company. Actually, look, if you want to build a house, it starts from a foundation, right? You need to do the necessary, like lay the foundation before you start building to different levels, and put your interiors and all those decorations and whatnot, right? So foundational issues, you have to be very closely, like, you have to pay close attention to your foundation. Could be raising the first money, right? What's your company capitalization? That's a foundational issues. We all face these problems, right? Second of all, you can also look at core team members, because this first look, companies, most they say SMEs fail, startup fails, but I mean the reason why they fail is foundational issues. It's not that one what's it called, one competitor swallowed them. No, and when you start having internal issues in a company, right, it's like an autoimmune disease. Like it's a crazy thing, because most companies fail because of internal issues, because maybe their mission and vision doesn't align, right? And you have to have a clear statement. You have to have a clear mission and vision. And every core team member must be authentically, like I said earlier on, authentically attached to this mission and vision, right? And this actually what propels this company to the new heights, right? Because if you don't get your foundation, like I said earlier, if you don't get your foundation right, you might not be able to stand the test, because business is all about experiment, test. You test and test, and you keep on pivoting. So this is how it works. So my advice to any player there or anybody that want to come and play, you have to look out for your foundation. Look at how you build the core team members, how you raise money. Look, money is a challenge for everybody, right? But there are different strategies to that. Like I was, there was this book I was reading a couple of weeks back. It's called Customer Funded Model. Is a strategy to raise funds. How do you get your customers to raise money? How do you get your customers to fund your business? Some companies like Airbnb achieve that. Most of Airbnb's money came from their customers. They got their customers to pay upfront, right? Before they had a lot of money to do different other things. So in every business, there is always a unique challenge. But the reason why you're in that business is to innovate, is to solve that problem. Any problem, call it money problem, call it whatever problem, it is your core responsibility to solve that problem. And for you to solve that problem, you have to look at different resources, right? You have to look at intellectual resources. You have to look at your network. You have to look at different ways to, come up with a solution. And once you solve that problem, you see yourself scaling through the next level. So you keep on, moving at that direction, right? And also your vision. You also have to have a clear vision of where you want to go, right? As a business owner, like what are you looking at building? Like, I don't mean you should have a vague vision. You should have a realistic vision, right? So, but that being said, it's important that whoever that is a core team member, you should make sure that they understand the mission and vision of that company, right? So that's my advice to any SMEs out there and anybody that wants to come into business. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. I just picked I picked more things, but I picked just two things that are very essential. Your foundation as a business owner, you must have a very strong foundation, and also have a vision of where you want to be. And I guess that's one very important key that most SMEs are failing from seeing, or they don't really have, because most people, they don't, their foundations are not really right. They just feel, let's just do business. I have an idea. Let's just start. Let's just push. Let's just do. Let's just run this thing. Thank you so much, sir. It has been an insightful time with you, and thank you. And I like the
And
name of the book you said. Okay. Do you want to say?
yeah, I just